for every player before they actually do it.
Yeah, and
before Giannis won it last year.
Yeah. Same thing.
It's the same for every player.
Only player.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics Show. As always, I am your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And today, I got a hell of a crew with me. My guy, Kata Hot, here from DSM Media. And my guy, Dibes from TPL. Check him out on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot as we stream to you guys live on DSM Media's Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook account. So if you're new to the channel, head on over to at DSM_media on Twitter. The link tree is in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. But Kata, I got to pass over you, dude. I got to get the Dives first. My man, what is happening?
Dylan, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me on, man. What a day. What a day we've got with a nice Phillies win here. Hopefully we get a couple more with the Eagles and Sixers. But thanks again for having me on, guys. Thank you.
No problem, brother. We got to have you on more. And Kata, you're down the shore now. I know you're feeling good.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, I'm feeling great.
Is that Mickey next to you? Who is that? Other side.
This side, yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we got Sailor Mickey because we're at the shore. Why not? It's Captain.
Very
Very
nice.
nice. Very
Got
nice.
the boat in
But
the backyard. Why not?
absolutely. But fellas, like I said, or like Dibe said, a lot to get into. The Phils come away with their 4th straight victory over the Colorado Rockies earlier this afternoon to take the 4-game sweep and get back to 500. They sit at 10-10 on the season, and the bats are starting to look alive. We'll get to that later in the middle of the show. We'll be wrapping up the show in the later portion, talking Eagles and NFL draft. What should the Eagles do? Sitting at picks 15 and 18 currently. Will they move up? Will they move back? Can they do both? Will they stand pat? I don't know. That's where I'm going to defer to you two. And then we're going to start off with the team that's looking to wrap up their round 1 series against the Toronto Raptors tonight, being the Philadelphia 76ers. Game 6, back in the 6 versus those ugly Raptors. No Fred VanVleet again. Dibes, you're the guest, so I'm going to throw it to you first, dude.
Sure.
What's been the major difference you've seen from games 1 and 2 on? Because I'm not even including game 3, because yes, the Sixers come away with the game 3. They come away with an overtime victory in amazing fashion, but they didn't lead regulation for a single second. So they have not played good basketball since the end of game 2. What's changed over the course of the last 3?
Well, the offense has gone completely down the toilet. A lot of that starts with Doc Rivers. Then that boils down to Joel Embiid, not so much offensively, but even defensively. We can get into that. Tyrese Maxey, the last 2 games, has truly struggled being involved in this offense. The Sixers have kind of fell to the Raptors brand of basketball that they thrive so much in. You know, the Sixers simply aren't matching the Raptors' heart. They're simply not matching the Raptors' effort. You look at games 1, 2, and 3, they beat them in all 3 phases: offensive rebounds, points in transition, getting on the fast break, perimeter shooting. They were among the tops of the league in half-court offense in the playoffs. That has gone down. What we have seen here, especially with Fred VanVleet now out of the game, that length of Toronto truly has stipend James Harden in less than 10 feet. Tyrese Maxey, less than 10 feet. That's a problem. That's a big problem. And I saw this series as Raptors in 6 when it started, and I don't know where game 6 is going to go. I have no freaking clue, because the Sixers came out like gangbusters and absolutely put it on Toronto from the jump. Then we kind of saw the series shift like we kind of expected here. Nick Nurse in favor of Nick Nurse here. But I don't see Toronto playing great basketball. I don't see Toronto like shooting the lights out from the perimeter. I simply see lack of hustle, lack of effort, not getting Joel Embiid in good spots. I see Joel Embiid's defense truly lacking there in game 5. He wasn't getting good positions. He was a half second late on closeouts. He wasn't getting it done. And then offensively, Doc is relying on these James Harden ISOs, and it just makes me nuts. It makes me nuts, especially when you have Tyrese Maxey, who's clearly far and away better. It's such a hard thing to ask for, especially a 21-year-old in such a high stakes moment to take the ball from James frickin' Harden. But Doc's got to see that. And his coaching ass is on the line tonight, something we've never seen before in NBA history. So he's got to make adjustments. It starts with Doc tonight here in Game 6. Then it goes to Tyrese Maxey. If the Sixers want any shot in winning this game, it's Tyrese Maxey getting at least 20, 25 points in this one. And then it goes to just as simple as limit those turnovers. Don't let the Toronto Raptors to get out in transition. That's what the Raptors want. They want chaos. They want to deflect passes. They want to get in those passing lanes and beat you to death, run you off the court. For me, the Sixers have a shot here if they can, A, hit open shots, and they have sucked at that the last 2 games, and B, get Tyrese Maxey going.
Got it. He touched on a lot, but he did touch on one specific person that I know you are not a fan of. So take it away. What have you seen as the difference over the last 2.5, 3 games as to why the Sixers are playing down to Toronto?
The speed just isn't there. The speed of the game is just so slow right now. Game 1 and Game 2, they were running in transition. I know that's not the type of team they are, but they play a lot better when they do that. And Harden dribbles the ball out way too much.
Yeah.
And he's not the scorer he used to be. It's one thing, okay, if you dribble out the clock and still can make threes. He doesn't do that anymore. It's a different James Harden. I think James Harden's the one who really needs to step up, and same with Embiid. The other guys are just role players. Your stars need to show up tonight.
Listen, I'm with you. I think, to me, it's on Joel Embiid first and foremost, because what you saw specifically in Game 5, Game 4, let's go back to that. It's 3-0, and Game 4, whatever you want to blame, it wasn't the refs' fault, but the refs were atrocious that game, right? And then whatever. Did we really think they were going to sweep Toronto? Would have been nice, but doesn't happen. My problem is Game 5. You come back to Philly. The crowd's bumping 30, 45 minutes pre-tip. And that's the energy you put out. That's the production you put out on the basketball floor. And yes, it starts with coaching and Doc Rivers and being prepared, right? But it's also down to the players. It's up to the players to play. And when you're a leader like Joel Embiid, I know that thumb's bothering you. I get it. Your thumb's on your hand, bud. Has nothing to do with your wheels. And I don't want the excuse that he's tired. I know he's tired. They're all tired. But it wasn't an excuse all season long. In back-to-backs when he'd come out and drop 45 and 42. It's not damn sure not going to be an excuse now. So to me, it starts with his energy level. It starts with his body language. It starts with his want to. It starts with his domination, and then there's a trickle-down effect. That shouldn't be how it is. It's just because Joel Embiid's off his A game doesn't mean James Harden, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, and Tyrese Maxey all have to play down as well. But he's going to set the tone tonight, and that's going to be really important. What's changed the most, guys, is Dobbs. You touched on it very early on in your statement. Coming into the series, we all said it, right? Like at least I thought the Sixers were going to win the series, right? But Toronto doesn't have enough talent. They don't have enough skill to outplay this 76ers team. What they're going to try to do is grimy up the game, beat you on the offensive glass, get second chance points, play physical, beat you to loose balls, want you, right? All those things didn't happen in Games 1 and Games 2. Like Dibe said, you got out in transition, you won the transition points battle. You limited turnovers. You did not get killed on the offensive glass. The minutes Joel Embiid weren't on the floor, you were winning those minutes with Paul Reed and others on the floor. All of that's changed. There's been no want to in the last 2 games, and that's the part that bothers me the most. I get it if you're missing, if you're cold from 3 and Toronto outshoots you like crazy from 3. I get it if Pascal Siakam just can't miss in the mid-range, right? And Gary Trent Jr. is hitting from all cylinders. When you show a lack of effort and a lack of heart in 2 back-to-back closeout games, that's a problem. That's an indictment on the coach. That's an indictment on your star players. And we will see what they have to say for themselves tonight. Because what was Danny Green's quote yesterday? It's time to nut up or what? Or get out, nut up or get out. I love it, dude. I say it all. Obviously, I don't come on here and talk about, nutting up. But stones is a phrase I use a lot. Tyrese Maxey's always had stones in the big moment. It's never been too big for him.
Yeah.
Moment looked a little too big in Game 5, fellas, and in Game
Yeah.
4.
I make pick and roll videos after every single game, and Doc has had a tendency when that James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll is working. You got James Harden cutting to the basket. Guys are wide open on the perimeter. It's a thing of beauty. But we have seen throughout the regular season, he gets away from that. Even when it's working from quarter to quarter, you go through stretches of halves where there's nothing. It's just ISO, ISO, ISO. And we've kind of gotten away a little bit from, that being said, guys are missing open shots. And we got to hit those here in Game 6 in Toronto, especially. But the offense has gotten so stale, so predictable. Get Joel Embiid going to the basket. Get Tyrese Maxey the ball going to the basket. Like it's been, like you said, a lot of dribbling from James Harden. Some of that same offense we saw in that Atlanta series, where it's just you're not going to win that way. And if Doc isn't putting this team in the best position to win with Embiid down low, I'm good with Embiid sitting on the perimeter at times, but there's a time and place. The Sixers lead, I think, the playoffs in ISO basketball right now. There's a time and place, Doc. It's not working the last 2 games. Will Doc adjusting in Game 6?
There's so many possessions, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way offensively, where after a turnover happens or a shot clock violation or just a horrible look as the shot clock's, winding down, where I just fall back and I go, that's the possession?
Yeah, right.
That's what we got out of that timeout, or that's what we got out. I remember last in Game 5 when we got the steal and it was all over social media, and Tease gets it in the corner and he passes back to Maxey, and Maxey gives him the ball back and he tries to give it back to Tyrese Maxey. Lazy pass, deflected the other way. Gary Trent Jr. scores in the second quarter, and the game, got put back to 8. But I want to get more into Game 6 tonight, because I don't want to focus on the negative and focus on the past, because before the series started, I said Sixers in 6. And I get it's not how we envision getting to 6, but it's not about the road there. It's about the destination. So if they wrap things up tonight, no one's talking about what if this, what if that. The Sixers on the wrong side of history. Take care of business tonight, and everyone's positive heading into Miami. With that said, I want to talk to you guys. I want you guys to talk about momentum for a second and your confidence level, because normally when a team takes the other's heart, like that's what Joel Embiid did in Toronto in Game 3. I thought he took their heart. Toronto came out and punched the Sixers in the mouth. They threw the kitchen sink at them. They gave them their best shot, and it wasn't enough. And Embiid puts them out of their misery. That's normally when a series is over. You've now given Toronto all of the momentum, and all of the pressure is on Philly now. So, what's your confidence level like right now? Because we can think the Sixers are going to win, but what's going on in that locker room, and what's going on with Toronto having all the momentum right now?
Well, to me, I mean, it's not just this series. Yeah, they probably will squeak out one of these next 2 games. But how is that going to carry on in the rest of the playoffs? Like, they look dead out there. They don't look like a team that should be out there right now, the way they have been playing the last couple games. The momentum is, like, gone, and these guys just need to step up and show some heart, do something.
Yeah. That's what
is it?
That's it, right? Like you touched on it, Dylan. Like the moping from Embiid in Game 5, like that's unacceptable. Like after the first quarter, he was checked out. He lost his legs.
I'm with you.
It was so disheartening to watch as a Sixers fan. Obviously, they weren't clicking offensively, and just to see that lack of effort was killing. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous. I'm straight up nervous about this series. We're kind of seeing big time momentum shift with this Toronto Raptors team, especially their length. You look at the way the Raptors handled Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. I can read you it off right here. In 39 possessions against OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Pascal Siakam, they held Tyrese Maxey to 2 points. Scotty Barnes held James Harden to 2 points on nearly 28 possessions. Like These were the concerns I had heading into this series, and unfortunately, they're showing up here later than sooner. So I'm big time concerned. And of course, how do you not have that giant Doc Rivers resume in the back of your head?
Whoa. He doesn't like when you talk about it.
Oh, would you ask Doc?
Did you ask Pop that question?
No, forget that one. Did you? I'm sure you guys saw his interview yesterday.
He
correct?
defended himself. Yeah.
Where he laid out the Chris Paul injury and the Blake Griffin thing and
how he won
8
with the
seed
Magic.
Pistons, whatever the hell he was talking about, dude. Like that's one thing that bothers me, right? Embiid, yes, we don't find ourselves getting on Joel Embiid a lot. Why? Because there's not many examples or reasons to get on Joel Embiid. But Game 5 was definitely a reason to criticize and critique him. What Joel does is he takes it on the chin, knows he played shitty, has to play better, blah, blah. We'll see what he does tonight. The head coach doesn't hear any of it.
No.
None of it, dude. Like he's got a CVS receipt length of excuses and reasons as to why history has gone down the way it has, and it just plays over in his mind. And if that's playing over in his mind, that's a problem tonight, dude. And now I want to take it to Doc for a second and heading into Game 6, because do you guys think he panics at all tonight? So what I mean by that is Games 3 and 4, when they were in Toronto before, obviously with no Matisse Thybulle, who I don't even want to discuss tonight. I Doc, I gave him credit because I like the fact that he didn't dig down into his bag of leftovers on the bench and try to pull in Isaiah Joe or Paul Millsap or Furkan Korkmaz off the bench. Now that the series is changing and you're getting a lack of production off the bench and the starters are struggling, no Matisse again tonight on the road. Do you think he sticks his hand in that bag and pulls out a Furkan Korkmaz, a Paul Millsap, somebody?
Did I hear Furkan?
Yeah. Kata's got 4. Dibes, have you ever heard of somebody owning one Furkan Korkmaz jersey?
No.
He owns like 4 of them. Is that a t-shirt?
Morning. Yeah.
Oh, my. So, yeah. So, Dibes, what do you think? Do you think Doc hits that panic button tonight and you see players we haven't seen yet in the series?
Doc is Doc. Like, he doesn't – his whole resume is not adjusting. His entire Sixers career is, not seeing what's happening on the court and making the appropriate adjustments. I don't see why we're going to change that now. I just don't.
Well, hold on real quick. What I mean, you're 100% correct in game, but I think Doc can adjust a little bit game to game off of what's happened previously. I think everything you see is what you're going to get from both teams. I don't think there's anything left from the Raptors that they can throw at the Sixers and vice versa. So I think it's honestly all about execution. I'm sorry. I know that's not a Giants jersey.
It is a Saquon jersey.
I know that's not a Giants jersey.
It's he's actually from New York in his defense, but it's ugly. I think you got to get out, man.
That's horrible.
I think you got to go.
Dibes, help me out.
We went from Furkan to the New York Giants. What's happening?
Yeah, just lowest to low.
Furkan owns Saquon Barkley.
But Dibes, continue if I didn't take you off your mark too long.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's really anything left that either team can truly do. New. I think you're still going to see a lot of the James Harden, Tyrese Maxey pick and rolls, which have been effective. I think it's truly about Doc sitting down like James Harden saying, just give it up. Like he has no prayer.
I disagree.
No, he's not. He cannot finish against the Toronto Raptors bigs, man, and the wings. They're putting him in a blender. Get the ball out. I think this is a game where Tyrese Maxey needs to be the one attacking, not James Harden.
I'm fine with Maxey attacking because you need more than 11 points or 12 points, whatever you got out Tyrese Maxey last game. But I think this is a moment where we can have our skepticisms of James Harden. Is he washed? Is he just older? Is is he slower? Is the hamstring bothering? Whatever it is, I need James Harden to not be James Harden of the past. I don't need you to be Houston Rockets James Harden like some people think. I don't need 30, 35 points. I don't need him dribble the ball through the floor and put up a step back three every other possession. I need James Harden to be efficient.
Yeah.
And if James Harden is efficient, the Sixers win this game with no problem.
Yeah, and that's what I meant, is where James Harden was only averaging 18 points a game in the first 3 games of the series. It's only 18 points, but what he was doing, he was leading the NBA in assist points created. He was right there with Chris Paul in assists per game in total assists. He was penetrating, but finding guys on the perimeter for wide open shots. The Sixers need to hit those shots. But my point is, I don't want James Harden can't keep just jacking up shot after shot in that restricted area, because they're too long. They're just too long.
I don't know why. Maybe I just need to smack myself in the face. Maybe it's the happy dads over here, but I just see James Harden showing out tonight. I don't know why. There is no previous evidence over the last week and a half that that's going to happen, but I just think it does tonight. But first and foremost, you talked about guys hitting perimeter shots, open shots. Caught out those to you first. The bench players are some of those guys, right? This is becoming a little bit of a problem because B-Ball Paul has not been as successful over the last 2 games as he was the first 3 when Joel Embiid was off the floor. This is, as much as we love the minivan, right? Horrible series, horrible matchup for him. He's too slow, too unathletic for these long defenders, these long wing guys. He can't keep up. He was left on an island against Siakam. Can't do that. He can't guard Scotty Barnes. He can't guard anybody, right? Shake Milton has that puppy dog, shrug shoulders look, and that's what scares the hell out, because when Shake's looking like that on the floor, body language, people, he's not going to be aggressive, right? So who the hell hit some of those shots tonight?
Danny Green. Danny Green, man.
Danny Green's starting.
It's Furkan time.
Bench.
Give him a shot.
You know what? I'm sorry.
I guess Shake.
No. We can include Danny because we'll use the others, right? We have the 4. We'll use the others here. It's Danny tonight.
Yeah, I'll go Danny. Danny's got to have a big. He was pretty okay in game 5. He had some really bad air ball.
He did, but he's the only reason you were even in that game at certain points.
100%. So Danny's got to have another big game. Got to step up. And I'll argue, I think Niang's been okay. He hasn't been unplayable by any means. He hasn't
not unplayable, but it's a really tough matchup for him right now.
It's 100% a tough matchup, but at least I don't think they're exposing Niang as much as I expected.
Okay.
And when you're talking 3 possessions, that doesn't really make that big of an impact. It's all, like I just said, it's all about execution. Who hits the open shots? Who limits the turnovers? Who wins the glass? That's as simple as it is. I don't think there's anything X's and O's that we really need to get into here. I think it's true.
No, of course.
Who plays more efficiently, right, Dylan?
It's funny, man, because here's how I'll preface my prediction and how we get into tonight. I don't have confidence in the Sixers right now after seeing the way the last 2 have played out. But I don't think people understand how difficult it is, why the history is the history. I get only 13 of the 143 series to be 3-0 have even won the next 2. I get they're already treading in dangerous waters, but there's a reason it's never been done before. It's extremely difficult. And this is only game 6, not even game 7. So I think they win, but I don't know how. I don't know which one they move, because I look at tonight and I go, okay, it's back in Toronto. Well, that crowd's going to be insane tonight, and they have all the momentum. So I don't know how they win tonight. And then I look, if they lose tonight and it goes to 7, I have no idea how they win in 7, because I think they could fold like a cheap tent in game 7 after all this pressure is applied. But I still don't think they lose. I don't know how they win either or, but I'm confident that they don't lose the series. I don't know how to explain my emotions with them, but here's the first question I have into tonight's game. What's more important? We talk about momentum. We're talking about a raucous crowd in Toronto. Do the Sixers need to, A, weather the storm? Because Toronto's going to come out explosive, energetic in front of that crowd. You got to take their best punch like you did in game 3. Or B, with already losing 2 straight and the momentum already shifted back, do you need to throw the first punch and get out early against Toronto? Kato, what do you think?
I think they need to get that momentum back as soon as possible. Come out with a quick dunk or something to silence that crowd, even a little
James
bit.
Harden step back 3?
Exactly. Something. Maybe Furkan Korkmaz makes 3 threes in a row. But something to whether not. I mean, they have to keep it up the whole game, but quiet that crowd at the start, and maybe they won't be able to get on a roll.
So Sixers throw the first punch. Dibs, what do you think?
Can I say a little bit of both?
Sure.
I mean, I think Joel Embiid was sensational in that first quarter in Game 5, but he lost his legs because of it. Like, he clearly wasn't the same player in the second half. So a little bit of both. Why can't I would like maybe Harden and Maxey and Tobias to carry the offense a little bit from the jump, and then let kind of Embiid cook in that second half, keep him fresh. I'd much rather prefer Embiid getting easier buckets, less ISOs, getting him rolling to the basket. I'd rather have him playing great defense in that first half and then see how it plays out in the second with his offense. That's how I would play it. But I got to say, like, I'll say it right now, I don't think the Sixers have the stones to win a Game 7. I don't. I think if the Sixers lose this one, it's going to be all in the heads of Joel Embiid like we've seen in the past. And let's be honest,
it's an interesting.
It is what it is.
It's an interesting conversation, right? And I don't want to have it later on, but let's just play hypothetical for a second because he's my favorite athlete and Philadelphia athlete right now in the moment. He's going to be all time for me. I love the dude. He was an MVP last year. He's an MVP this year. If this were to happen, if that record becomes 143-1 after the previous playoff collapse, after the second round exit, after the sweep versus Boston, how much does that indictment on Embiid start to play out?
Yeah, it's definitely going to go on his resume, but I guess it depends on your expectations for this season. Like, the Sixers were never going to win a championship this year. That was never in the cards. Even with the James Harden trade, the Sixers just have way too many holes in this roster. That's how I've looked at this from the beginning of the season since the James Harden trade. Yeah, there was definitely a pocket, especially that first 5 games with Harden. Like, oh shit, like maybe this could be like something special. But the honest truth here is that this is not a complete roster. You're missing Thibault. I know he sucked in Game 5, but they don't have the wings. They don't have the 3-and-Ds. They don't have the ball handlers to match up with this Toronto Raptors team or shooting. So I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. I picked them to lose, but I don't think that takes away anything from Embiid's amazing season.
I think it does. And no, it doesn't take anything away from the season, but it starts to become a major indictment. Like, dude, listen. We can all sit here and laugh at Jokic's performance against Golden State, right? The plus minus he had through the first 2 games and how they lost in 5. What's worse?
That feels like an eternity
losing to Golden State in 5, or Embiid and the Sixers becoming the first ever team to blow a 3-0 lead against it. Dude, this is what drives me absolutely insane. Toronto doesn't have a star. They got a bunch of dudes. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, they got some nice pieces, dude. I don't want to hear about Kem Birch and Precious Achua and Chris Boucher and OG Anunoby. Congrats. Bury them tonight because I don't want to see them anymore on a basketball floor against you. They are not as talented as you. They are not as skilled as you. Get them out of here now. Because the moment you get them to a Game 7, I agree with you, Dibes. I think the world comes burning and crashing down. I have no idea how they dropped 3 straight coming back to Philly in front of that crowd.
Let's be honest. You saw how nervous that crowd was in games.
Yeah.
That Sixers crowd was shitting their pants literally the entire game. Then the boos started coming out. They were not supporting the Sixers for the majority of that game.
No, well, they deserved to get booed off the floor for the energy level they put.
100%.
But okay, let's try to get the positive and the positive energy into the show. Kata, I'll throw it to you. I don't know how you're feeling, so maybe I'm wrong throwing the word positive at you. Give me your predictions for tonight. I want a score prediction, and I want, if the Sixers are to be successful, a player or a reason why.
All right, let's go 101-88. Sixers win. I think they finally pulled off. And I think James Harden isn't going to have a phenomenal game, but I think he goes like 25 and 13 assists. Just good enough for them to win, and they'll move on somehow.
Dibes.
I would cry. I would really cry. For me, I don't think the Sixers win this one. Wouldn't it be like the most Sixersy thing for them to win like a tough game 6 in Toronto? Like as this series is completely unpredictable. I don't know. But for me, I just see Toronto clicking a little bit more than the Sixers. I can't get that image of Embiid moping his ass around the court in the second half in Game 5. It's going to be up to the Sixers stars. It's for me, if the Sixers want to win this, it starts with Doc. Doc's got to be able to get Joel Embiid moving to the basket, more pick and rolls, find the open shooters. You know, those two have so much gravity on offense. It attracts so much attention in the paint. Why not like run those two, and just let our shooters cook with open shots? I don't understand why you have the most ISO-driven offense in the league. When the Sixers offense looks good, that's when Tyrese Maxey is getting rebounds and a one-man transition bucket and, you know, attacking on the other end of the court. I want to see more of that, not just ISO basketball. So for me, it's Tyrese Maxey, you know, getting buckets in transition, Tyrese Maxey getting more touches on offense, and Tyrese Maxey kind of finding himself with that jumper, which has definitely fallen a little bit these last two games. So Maxey, Sixers lose, but I need to see Maxey take that step tonight.
So we got Maxey, we got Harden. To me, like I think James Harden is going to play. I think both play a crucial role in this game, but to me, not even from a number standpoint, just from an energy standpoint, like Dibes just mentioned, just from being that leader and then anchor defensively, this one starts and ends with Joel Embiid. And I don't know how I feel. Like I agree with you, Dibes. Like I would not mind at all to see the other step up and let him get his rhythm into this one. I also would not mind to see Joel Embiid establish himself and establish his dominance early on in this one and get others involved as well. I don't know, but I think it starts with him tonight. It starts with that leadership and the MVP on the floor tonight. When you talk about all three of them, and we can even include Cotto like this, but Tobias Harris in the four, right? The thing about the last two games is it hasn't been Embiid's dropped 35 and 13 and they lost. It hasn't been Harden had a ridiculous night and they lost. Nobody has been good. Nobody. The bench, the stars, the role play, nobody has played well. The numbers show it. The outcome shows it. It doesn't take all four to beat this Raptors team. It doesn't take three of the four. It takes 1.5 of these dudes to show up tonight to bury them. And I think if you get Harden and Maxey, if you get Embiid and Harden, whatever the matchup the duo is tonight, if you get Maxey and Toby, 25-point Toby, 24-point Toby, it's over.
I like that.
The big guys just need to come up and, like Danny Green said, nut up and put them out of their misery because you're the better goddamn team. I'm going Sixers win 108. I'm tired of this sub 90 scoring, this 92 sub scoring the last two games. Sixers win 108 to 101. I think it's a close game for most of it. You're going to see runs from both teams that scare the hell out of us as Sixers fans. You're going to have the highest of highs tonight. They're going to go up by 12, and the next thing you know, it'll be a 3-4 point game. But I think ultimately at the end of this game, Joel Embiid and company pull away, and the Sixers put Toronto out of their misery in 6 because, like I said, as long as you win this game, I don't care how the last two – okay, in the record, 4-2. That's it. Sixers in 6. Who cares? Like, we're all getting so worked up because it's the what-if factor, right? If they win tonight, who cares about Game 4 and Game 5? Yeah, there's red flags you can look at. We've been seeing them all year. But that's not going to affect me going into Miami because they beat the Raptors in 6 when they were up 3-0. So just bury it tonight. End of story. Sixers win, and Sixers possibly lost by Dibes tonight. All right. I was going to get into the fightings, but I'm a little pinched for time here as it's already after 6. So let's get into the other headline tonight. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I know Cotter's pumped up. I know Dives pumped up. I'm trying to be pumped up, but with this black cloud of the Sixers hanging around,
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just not there. We're having a draft show. I know Dives. I'm pretty sure you guys at TPL, right, are having a draft show. I can't. I'm not even hopping on until after the Sixers game because I can't get into the feel of the draft. So, Dives, I'll throw this to you first. I got a couple of questions for you guys.
Sweet.
Which is more likely? The Eagles stick at 15 and 18, move out of one because there's a lot of rumors they're going to move up out of one and then back out of the other, or trade back down with the other, or move both.
I think there's a good chance that they move both. I think there's a really good chance they move both. The Eagles 100% should be targeting Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton, Kayvon Thibodeau, those three guys. Even Derek Stingley you can add to that list.
Wow.
In a possible trade up
for you then. Sorry.
In a possible trade up into that 9, 10, 11 range ahead of the Vikings at 12. And I think it's also very realistic they trade back with 18 because there's a lot of really strong safeties, wide receivers, cornerbacks, Andrew Booth Jr., for the safety position, you've got Jalen Petrie and Daxton Hill and Jaquan Brisker at wide receiver. There's a lot of really interesting names like Treylon Burks and George Pickens and Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson. It goes on and on. There's a lot of good fits for the Eagles there in the back. So I actually think it makes more sense for the Eagles to trade up for a little bit, maybe spend an extra third or a fourth, who knows what, just a little bit. Get your guy. Get a Thibodeau who's just a monster 3-down edge rusher, or Kyle Hamilton who could change the entire defense for the next 10 years at safety, or Sauce Gardner, who I think is just absolutely sensational, number one cornerback in this class for me. So I think that's probably the best bet.
So real quick, Connor, before I throw it to you, Dives, you mentioned them moving up, and you're in favor of it, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
However, you mentioned 4 defensive players, and the rumors surrounding the Birds is that if they move up, it's on the offensive side. Are you opposed to that?
Who would you trade up for? Like that?
The rumors are that they're trading off for Jameson Williams.
Nah, I don't think you need to trade up for Jameson Williams. And even if you don't, there's quality wide receivers that are going to be available at 15 or 18. Like I just mentioned, Treylon Burks, or you go on and on with Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave, or I know I'm probably missing one. Pickens in the back. I don't think wide receivers are worthy of trading up. I think they're in that tier of like mid to late first. But I think the cream of the crop in this draft is the edge position. It's the cornerback position. Super, super top heavy. Amazing, because at those two positions, like for example, after George Karlaftis in the first round, at the edge position, you get into Kingsley Enagbari, Drake Jackson, Cameron Thomas. Those guys are just not the same tier in that class. At cornerback, after you get past Derek Stingley Jr. and Andrew Booth Jr., I'm not a fan of Trent McDuffie. I think he's going to thrive in the slot. Kyer Elam is a nice pick. I really like that kid. I think he's got a lot of potential. But there's a drop. There's a cliff of a drop, especially on day 2. I have been beating the drum. Cornerback, edge rusher in that first round. Get the best you can get. But after that, then you look at safety and wide receiver, because there's pretty deep there. There should be a really good safety available. Verone McKinley is really nice. Kirby Joseph is really nice. There's a lot of good day 2 guys in that area, I think. So for me, trade up, then trade back.
Got it. What do you like tonight?
So to me, I almost feel like the Eagles are in no man's land where they're at. Like, I feel like there's 13 really good players in this draft, and then there's like a second tier. And I feel like that second tier they're kind of in right now. So I would trade up for a guy like Stingley or Gardner or somebody on the defense. I don't think trading up for Williams makes a lot of sense, especially since he's injured right now. That I know it's an ACL and it's easy to come back from ACLs now, but it's still a worry to me that you're getting a guy who's not going to be going through OTAs at all or anything. And who knows what he is after that injury? Who knows if he's the same player? I think they got a good
track
defense.
record with drafting injured players at the time with major injuries.
David Ojabo on day 2. You can book that to the Eagles because he just suffered an Achilles injury.
I'm worried they might take him tonight. I'm worried they might take him tonight.
He's talented. He was a top 15 pick 100% before that injury.
Right. Sidney Jones 2.0, you're telling me?
Yeah. Drake London's the other wide receiver.
No. See, here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to come out here and front with you guys. I know the top prospects. I know the night 1 guys. I'm not going to act like I know day 2, day 3. I'm not that guy. I haven't put in that much work into the prospects and the draft this year. But what I know about Drake, to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Dibes. Drake London out of USC, if I'm correct, is that bigger body type of
or Sega Whiteside Jr.
Right. I don't want it, bro. Like I don't want it. Do not reach for fit. Do not reach for what Howie sees as the ideal receiver on this team. No. Go get the kid from Bama. Go get the kid from Ohio State, the kid from Georgia, whatever you got to do. I'm tired of it. I don't need another. I know USC is not TCU, but I know USC is not Stanford. I don't need that anymore. One guy.
Yeah, I disagree. I completely disagree. I think he's a completely the ghost of J. Jaw lingers among so many.
You're damn right it lingers, Dibes.
Yeah, it does. I don't want anything to do with Phaithful receiver ever again.
Nelson Aguilar, I get it. But this guy is just not everyone's the same player, and I think this guy has more Mike Evans, Keenan Allen in him than Nelson Aguilar. Hey, he did. I think this whole thing about separation is so overrated. It's so overrated. We're picking, overpicking, overanalyzing this so much. This is a completely different level of talent. Like the guy is a phenomenal basketball player, a phenomenal athlete. J-Jaw did nothing in basketball. Absolutely nothing. Like we're talking about 2 different people. And I get it from a.
Well, let me ask you though, is he technically a reach at 15 or 18?
100% not. No. I can't lie. I was very disappointed to see he didn't run his 40 during his pro day. TJ Husmanzada is his trainer, your mama, and he said he was going to run in the 4.4, 4.5, but I don't buy it. Why would you buy that? So he hasn't run in a while. He got hurt. I think he hurt his hamstring. So that was really disheartening. But he's one of those ultimate guys, divisive guys among Eagles fans, just like Jordan Davis.
So
I made a boomer bust. He actually wasn't on my boomer bust list, to be honest. I made a boomer bust video in this draft, but yeah, I get it.
So let me throw another name out at you. A position of need probably a month and a half to 2 months ago that Eagles fans would be clamoring for right now, but it seems like with the additions of Kaiser White and Hassan Reddick, that's taken a backseat a little bit. Devin Lloyd is a name that could be there at 18. I know it's not happening, but how much would you guys love to see Devin Lloyd in Midnight Green?
I think he's a future Hall of Famer. I think he's that good. He was in my top 10 in my big board. He is on my top 10 in my big board. I think he's just a flat-out stud. You nailed it, Dylan. It ain't going to happen, but I think this guy is like the Swiss Army knife. Like, there's so many things he does great. Attack the quarterback, stop the run, drop back in coverage. He struggles a little bit at shedding blocks, but he has elite potential. Like just elite. Like if you're the Eagles and you're looking to add stars to this defense, looking to add stars on offense, Devin Lloyd has to be on the top, very, very top of that list. And I like some of these day 2 guys: Chad Muma, Christian Harris, Brian Asamoah, even day 3, JoJo Doman. Like there's a lot of linebackers there that are kind of nice. But there's such a gap. It's Devin Lloyd, and then it's like Nakobe Dean, and then it's like
that's the one. Now, I was just going to ask you. So Nakobe Dean,
he's nice. Absolutely, he's nice. I don't know.
Could that be a trade back?
Yeah, everything depends on the board. Like that is 100%, especially in the first round. I'm in the belief that first round, best player available, depending on need. That's always been my mindset. But Nakobe Dean, would I be upset if they take him at 18? Probably not. I could probably talk myself into it. I still think it's a much bigger need at cornerback, much bigger need at even at safety, even at wide receiver.
I'd love Sauce or Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, those are my top two. So Hamilton's my number one prospect.
Stingley, obviously, too.
Stingley is in my top 10. I have Andrew Booth higher than Stingley. I'm really high on Andrew Booth Jr., who's just a playmaker. He's just a sensational playmaker, great size, great closing speed, amazing instincts. Go just look him up. He makes one-handed interceptions. It's unbelievable. He would be so nice outside of Darius Slay for this defense. But then, so like I already said, like I think they need to nail the edge and cornerback position. After that, everything's gravy. But to be honest, if they were to get Kyle Hamilton, I don't fucking care what they do.
Right.
I go out and buy that jersey fucking immediately. That's what I do.
So I was just going to say, you mentioned corner, which is an obvious need now with the departure of Steven Nelson, who was kind of that 1 year stopgap. But across from Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox is now your number 2 again, Dibes. And you and I have talked enough in the past about what type of corner Avonte Maddox is.
Mm-hmm.
The slot, everybody. So I don't want him back outside. And then what? It's Zach with an E is next. Then you go to safety, the departure of Rodney McLeod. You brought back Ant Harris. Okay, I don't even know what Ant Harris is at this point. And then you're relying on what? Marcus Epps or Kevon Wallace to maybe take a step. So safety is a huge need. And then you look at the D-line, which has some guys, but aging guys who we don't know about health-wise and in the future. Linebacker has all of a sudden become a minuscule worry on this defense when it was the top need on my list a year and a half ago, 2 months ago, maybe. So it'll really be interesting to see what he decides to do. But Dibes, you mentioned the board. So Kata, I'll throw this to you. I've heard the reports of Howie already. Like Howie knows in all different scenarios, knows what he wants to do. It all depends on how this board plays out. If he stands still, if he moves up, moves back, what's he doing? 15, 18, etc. He already knows he's making calls, right? How unpredictable is this board? Because I feel in previous years, one for the most part. Now Trayvon Walker or whatever is moving up to number 1 somehow, right? Aiden Hutchinson sliding down possibly to 4 to New York or whatever. How unpredictable is this board? Because like I said, normally you at least know the top 3-5 picks. You at least know that the top 3 quarterbacks are going to go maybe here, and here. You don't even know where Willis or Pickett's going. Like, what do you think about this board?
It is very unpredictable. Like you just said, we don't know who's really going 1 yet. I still think it's going to be Hutchinson, but people are talking about Walker being up there. And at one point it was Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, one point it was a tackle. What is going to happen? And I think a lot of this draft is really going to depend on the first 8 picks. And then the whole rest of the draft will kind of fold out from that. And I think that's around the range you'll see the Eagles trade up is around the 9 to 12 range is probably, if they're going to trade up, where they would trade up.
It's so
unpredictable. Keep going.
Yeah, you look at the wide receiver position. Nobody knows which wide receiver is going first. Is it Garrett Wilson? Is it Jameson Williams? Is it Drake London? You look at offensive tackle. Evan Neal has been the prized offensive tackle in this group. Now it's Ike Ekwonu, who is more of a beast in the run game that has leapfrogged Evan Neal. I mean, you look at edge rusher, Jermaine Johnson, Trey Walker. There's guys that I think George Karlaftis has fallen. Where is he going to go? There's so many guys in this class that could go anywhere and everywhere. It's going to be a really fun draft. And if you're an Eagles fan, you need Malik Willis, you need Kenny Pickett, 100% to go in the top 14. You need Evan Neal, you need Ike Ekwonu, 100% in the top 15. You need Devin Lloyd. I think at least I'm talking about what I want. I want one of those prize edge rushers. I think that they're the best prospects in this class.
Is Thibodeau your top 1?
Thibodeau was my number 1 basically until a lot of the shit went down with the Eagles safety position. Thibodeau, I've been so high on. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's terrific, but Thibodeau gives you more versatility. Thibodeau has better measurables. Hutchinson's more of a get the quarterback beast. Now, he's a top 5 guy. Like, he's an absolute stud at what he does, and he deserves it. The way he finished out last year, I think he had like 8 sacks in the last like 4 games. It was like unbelievable, and he deserves everything coming to him. But Thibodeau is just a better prospect, and I've been banging that drum for months. So for me, it's for the Eagles, it's Thibodeau, Sauce, and Hamilton. Those are the 3 guys. Those are the 3 guys Eagles fans should be watching here and where they get selected. Outside of that, maybe Jordan Davis goes in the top 10. Some of these other guys that you're really hoping that way the Eagles can maneuver and get one of these guys in Midnight Green, because all 3 of those guys are superstars.
Yeah, man, I sat back for a second because I want no part of an offensive lineman taken.
No, that's the worst. You can't not do it.
It's the most Howie thing ever had. He trades back from 18 and he takes Karlaftis late in the first round or mid 20s of the first round. Dibes, I don't know what I'll do with myself.
Karlaftis is an edge rusher. He's nice.
I'm sorry. You just
Linderbaum.
What?
Linderbaum?
I did not mean.
Yeah, I'll flip out with that.
Yeah.
I didn't want him. He's got short arms. I don't trust that. Short arms.
Not to mention,
nope. Get it out of here.
What have you been preaching to me for me to stay patient, right? Because 2023 is the year, right? Have you, right?
Who are you talking to me?
You.
What did I say? What?
In 2021, you kept saying 2023 is the year, right? That's what you kept saying to me?
Yeah, when they get their quarterback. Yeah.
All right, different conversation. But
they're not winning anything in the next 2 years. They're not winning anything.
Fine. But I want no part of a first-round draft pick for this team that was a playoff team last year, overachieved, but has some pieces that won't even play for 2+ years or a year plus. I want no part of it. Well, Jason Kelce might be done after this year. Okay.
I see what you mean. I will say I have scouted in depth, the guards in this class, and they're really good. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, if one of those are available on day 2, I would not be shocked.
Oh, day 2? I don't care. I don't care. In the 3rd round or whatever. I'm talking tonight or early second round tomorrow. Do not do it.
Yeah, it's defense for me. But I love Jamison Williams, like you guys said. I think he's a terrific player. Him next to Devontae would be sensational.
So, give me, before we wrap this up, give me 2 names, because they have 2 draft picks. They could trade out of the first round with one of them. I don't know. But either they stay pat or they move, whatever your prediction is. 2 guys tonight that you predict will be an Eagle. Cotto, I'll go to you first.
Trent McDuffie and Matt Corral.
Okay.
You might as well just say Korkmaz.
Korkmaz is better than Matt Corral.
For me, it's I'll say what I want the Eagles to do versus what I think they'll do are 2 different things.
We like to play that game a lot.
Yes.
All right, so I will say the best move the Eagles can do would be trade up for Kyle Hamilton, get your Malcolm Jenkins for the next decade. That is he's better than Malcolm. That's how good this guy is. He's a defense changing player. And then I do love the idea of a trade back and get George Pickens in Midnight Green, who's just a pure X receiver. He's an alpha dog. I had a Georgia Bulldogs podcast join my show, and we broke down the Georgia Bulldogs prospects, and he was like just raving about George Pickens and how he's like this. He's got that attitude of an alpha, like that diva that I'd love out of the wide receiver position.
We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, I'd love that. I want all of it. I need that mentality that he could. You saw him in the championship game, the catches he's made. Like, he's an unbelievable athlete. And I think he's slightly underrated right now. I think he's a lock for the first round, but we're seeing him mostly mocked in that round 2, round 3 area, which is nuts. Another guy to keep an eye out for is Christian Watson. Christian Watson is a small school guy, 6'4", immense speed, can return punts, return kicks. but he has really climbed up the draft boards. Another guy that can play outside, can play inside, but has all the measurables you want. But if I had to say what I want the Eagles to do, trade up for Hamilton, trade back for George Pickens, what I think they'll do at 15, it is Andrew Booth Jr. They'll lock up that number 2 cornerback position. And probably at 18, George Karlaftis, I think, is a really intriguing player. I like George Karlaftis. I think you watch his tape. The dude was double, triple teamed every single game for Purdue last year. He's got some of the strongest hands. He's literally one of the strongest players in this draft. And every time he gets his hands on the quarterback, they just fall like rag dolls. For me, that's been my gut feeling the last few weeks. I'm going to ride that. And I'm going to say, if they stay put at 15-18, Andrew Booth Jr., George Karlaftis. If they trade up, Kyle Hamilton, George Pickens.
I'll take either or. I'll be happy with either
Yeah.
or. So
I like both of those.
My final question to you two is, we got the Phillies win. There's 2 more major Philadelphia sporting events tonight. What are the odds? I'll give you 3 options just from the final one. Sixers disappoint. Eagles kill the draft. Sixers win and close out the series. Eagles blow the draft. Or Sixers win. Eagles kill the draft.
I think the best odds are Eagles kill the draft and the Sixers
timeout.
I do. Look at
you have more confidence in Howard.
Devontae Smith trade was amazing, and I love that move to a first round pick into next year. Like,
I'm with you. I'm just saying, beyond last season, you have more faith in Howie.
No, I didn't say that. I did not say that. You're twisting my words.
I have more faith in Howie Roseman and Doc Rivers for sure.
I agree with him. Like, I can't just ignore Doc Rivers' resume. I just can't.
I won't ignore Howie.
At least my last memory of the first
Howie
round.
won a Super Bowl.
We were all doing high fives with my buddies when we traded up and got Devontae Smith. That was a great move. That was a great move.
Great move. That's the first great move he made in about 7 years.
That's true. So,
and Kata, I'm going to guess this is one of your TikTok followers.
Oh, probably. But he knows your name, though. He didn't say me.
He does, but he needs to learn some grammar, too, because I don't know what he's trying to say here. So I'm delusional. The Sixers will dominate Game 6. Then he goes on to say, without Van Vliet, Sixers have no chance.
That makes no sense.
It does. It makes a ton of sense. And I said that on Scotty's show, how Van Vliet was their weak link. I fully agree with that comment.
No. I'm saying he starts by saying Sixers will dominate Game 6, and then he follows up by saying,
he said you're delusional to them dominating Game 6.
All right, is that what he meant? Sixers
I think
is delusional to the Sixers will dominate. Again, some grammar, some misspelling within that statement, Max, but that's fine. Dibes has some question marks. Max has some question marks. I would love to know. Max is a Raptors fan. Maybe he's a Lakers fan, Nets fan, even better. I don't know. But the Sixers will win tonight. Fellas, what are you looking forward to more? Last question. Sixers game or the draft?
Oh, it's not even close. It's 100% the draft.
What?
I am dreading this Sixers game. I am so nervous. I don't want anything to do with the Sixers game.
I get nervous, bro.
The draft is Christmas, man. Dude, you don't understand. Like, I have been putting out probably 2 videos.
I know what you do.
I've been putting out like 2 videos on the draft a week since December.
I know what you do for that, but my point is
it's
Christmas.
time.
Don't
take that away from me. Stop it.
No, it is time for that Christmas preparation of the NBA draft within Tyrese Maxey's videos to come out and perform tonight, Dibes. This is when your Christmas gift pays dividends.
That Game 5 killed me, man. I'm not gonna lie. It like literally just stole my soul.
I hear you. It hurt. If tonight kills me, we will have a totally different conversation. But I'm not gonna let a Game 5 in the first round kill my spirit about what and who this team is. So we'll see. Kata, you looking more forward to the draft?
Absolutely. This is the Eagles' future we're looking at here. 2 first-round picks.
Until it becomes one.
If the Sixers lose tonight, they just play Game 7. Or the Sixers win tonight, they're moving on. This isn't the Sixers' future tonight. This is just another game. It's a very important game. But
More
this is
fun.
the Eagles' future here.
It's more fun, right?
You guys are
Like,
killing my vibe, bro. Now I got to go drink 8 more Happy Dads to feel confident.
that's a win-win.
He's not sponsored.
No sponsor over here. But all right, fellas. Dibes, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to jump back on with us. Hope to have you back on the show more often. Kata, you as well. Some news coming in the future. Kata might be making more appearances on the Phaithful Fanatic show as time progresses here. But that's going to wrap up this Thursday edition of the Phaithful Fanatic show, live to you guys on DSM Media on our Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook accounts. If you're new to the channel, head on over to @DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button, hit that link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the Painted Lines on YouTube as well if you don't already. Dibes, tell the people where they can find you guys tonight.
Oh man, watch party, Sixers NFL draft watch party. Like I said, I put out probably about 80 videos on the draft, mock drafts, positional rankings, sleepers, boomer bust, you name it. It's all out on the channel on this draft. It's my favorite day of the year. So we're breaking it down. I've got video highlights, analysis, everything you want. 133 prospects ready to go tonight, tomorrow night. This is my favorite day of the year. Then it goes into the NBA draft, and that's a whole other animal. Those are my two loves, the NBA draft and the NFL draft. So this is Christmas, man. It's bittersweet, though, because I put so much time and effort into this, and it's almost over.
Yeah.
So it's
for us to be
like
wrong.
a little bit of mix.
Just like we all, well, most of us do on Christmas and Christmas Eve, we drink.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Sixers are going to make us drink enough, but I saw a TikTok of a drinking game idea for you fellas for the draft tonight.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Okay. What?
Dodge, I know you got a mock draft, right? First round.
Oh, yeah.
Carter, you got a first round mock draft out?
Multiple. Too many.
Well, take one. Take your favorite one, your number one. And for every pick you get wrong,
I love it.
you shotgun or beer.
Shotgun
I'm going to be going by the third pick.
What do you think I was going to say? Take a sip?
Dude, I'm older than you guys, man. I can't do that anymore.
Fine, God.
I drink whiskey. I drink scotch. I'm older now.
Fine, take a shot.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. What happens if, like, knock on wood? I mean, I hope your mock draft it doesn't turn out that way because you put a lot of prep into it. But what if you get 26 wrong?
Wait till Matt Corral goes number 1 and everything goes out the door.
Exactly.
We won't be hearing from Dibes again.
Yeah, Matt Corral. Yeah, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral. Like, those are all the guys if you're an Eagles fan, you need to shock everybody, and they go in that top 50. There's always a couple, right? Like Boye Mafi, like a super.
No, I hate the name. I don't want them. We talked about this before. Boye Mafi.
No. We want them to go before our pick.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say, I don't want Chef Boyardee on my team. I'm good. I don't want to pronounce the name.
No, we need Smoke Monday, and there's another safety called Blunt. So you got Smoke Monday and Blunt on the same secondary.
I'm down.
That's what
I'm down for that. All right, fellas. That's officially going to wrap up this episode. Everybody, enjoy your night, especially if you're a Philly fan. Hopefully, we get a clean sweep of the day. I'll take 2-1, but I would really love 3-3 tonight. Have a nice night, everybody.